Yo, 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 it's your boy Matty Ice coming at you with your Week 6 State of the League, aka the mildest in the office after these past few weeks. I'm going to get it together one of these days, don't worry. Sorry for the delay, but we're right back on scheduled programming. This week's drink of the week is going to be the Bloody Mary. It's a bit of a theme this week, but we'll get into that. Without further ado, the first matchup we're going to go over this week was Cree's Casual Cartwheel versus Ladies of the Night in Canada. Holly called this, okay? She's the only one who called this, but she did call it. And she even called to the number, too. She said 180 plus, 188 on the money. This girl can see into the future. I would use her to predict some lottery numbers if you guys can, if she's willing to let you, use her in that way. I don't know how you predict something like that. But I mean, with a lineup like hers, it's either boom or bust, and it was boom this week. She put up 188 to Jason's 105. Jason, that's paltry, bro. Like, it didn't matter what she put up, you were gonna lose anyways, man. You gotta watch that, bro. You're gonna slip to the bottom here in a bit. You're almost damn near there. That brought Holly up to a 4 and 6, almost 500 seasons for her so far. Jason dropping you to a 2 and 8 in 9th place. Next matchup was Corporate, Lauren, and Brandy. Now, this matchup was a little lower scoring than I had anticipated it to be. I'm going to be 100% honest with both of you, honestly. Lauren, honestly, your skills players, man, they couldn't just pull it out. You had some decent running backs with, Cam Scattaboo and whatnot, but your tight end didn't do a whole lot. Jameson Williams did nothing. But again, that's to be expected after all the firepower they had. They're going to spread that ball around, so that's kind of difficult. And there's no way you're going to predict that Justin Herbert's going to do what he did this week. He's been fired every single week, so that's unheard of. Brandy, Dak Prescott saved your butt, dude. Like, there's nobody else on your lineup that did exceedingly well. I mean, Jalen Waddle did pretty great, you know what I mean? But that's probably because Tyreek Hill's gone now, too. So I guess he's the new guy. He's next man up. So congrats, Brandy. You're going to continue to build on Jalen Waddle's continued success week in, week out until they get somebody else decent in there at wide receiver. But that brings Lauren to 6 and 4, and that brings Brandy up to 5 and 5. Brandy was below the margin, but just slightly. This week was high. Everybody and their mother scored super, super high this week, and I'm not sure exactly why, but not a bad thing. Next was Matthew Ionata with Boom Roasted, and Trey and Updog. Let's see. Trey didn't look bad this week, honestly. Matt just came out swinging and not doing what he's doing. He's a comeback kid. I'm telling you right now. Like, I called this whenever he was 0 and 4. I said, Matt will not stay down. He doesn't know how to stay down. And the guy, he knows too much about football to stay down for long. And I think that he's trending in the right direction. He has the names. He has the people. I would say this kind of correlates with Ashton Johnson and what he's been able to do. He was terrible the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. And now he's starting to pick it up. His line's starting to get going. He's the only bright spot in that offense. I mean, the Raiders suck. But Ashton Johnson's been doing very, very well. Trey, I mean, you had a pretty well spread out team too. Everybody pretty much performed the way as should be. Woody Marks, horrible, dude. We already talked about that in our text. Thanks for the trade this week, by the way. It didn't make a crazy big difference, but it put me a little more at ease, and it stressed out, the Juggernaut a little more than it should have. So thank you for that. I'm glad to see that old T-Paul could put up some numbers too. He exceeded his expectations as well. So much better than who you would have put in. So let's be happy about that one. But yeah, that drops Trey down to a 1 and 9. Sorry, number 10, bro. Again, you're another one of those guys I'm betting on, man. Don't prove me wrong. Next, we have Leah, 5 and 5, who was so sure she was going to win this week, talking all kinds of trash to Rachel, with some earned. Rachel hasn't been doing too well this year, with the lowest points for out of the entire league. But hey, she pulled it out this week, even despite Trevor Lawrence's best efforts. Amar and Hampton just couldn't get it together that day, so that's really what it boiled down to for that. He had his injury. I think that if he had stayed in, you'd have been all right. Honestly, you'd have been all right. But with that playing from behind like that, it's difficult playing with some injured players. If anybody understands, it's me. That's difficult. It's not easy. But you still finished strong at 139. It's still below the median, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? You did what you could. This was the same exact situation for me last week, except I won, but still below the median with a bunch of injuries, not just one. Guess I'll free. And the most anticipated matchup, I think, of the year, maybe bigger than the Barker Bowl. We don't know. was the hottest in the office and the Lizard Kings. This game, people, when I tell you it shaved years, not years, maybe months off my life, for sure, it shaved months off my life. I've been sitting there watching, and there's nothing you can do. I made every move I could make. I do what I could. I was switching out people. I lost over half my lineup last week to injuries, and I put forth the effort I could put forth. People were offering to buy me cakes, incentivize me to beat Mackenzie. Like, I do what I could. Just couldn't pull it out. Mackenzie, her team's too strong, you know what I mean? Between, Puka Nakua, freaking Egbuka, Jonathan Taylor, who just will not stop. He's put up, I think, above 25 points every single week without fail. And to seal the final nail in the coffin was her defensive player, and Harrison Butker's pretty rough performance in the sense that all he had was opportunities for PATs and no field goals. I did what I could, ladies and gentlemen. What I would like to say though is that I would liken this battle here to the final battle in 300 where Leonidas confronts Xerxes. And we all know, Leonidas, he dropped what he needed to drop. He threw his shot. He chucked his spear the way that he needed to. In the end, he died. He was gone. But he did what he set out to do, which wasn't to die, but it was to prove Xerxes could bleed. And ladies and gentlemen, Mackenzie can bleed. She has a weakness. She will be defeated at some point in the season. Not by me, but it will happen. Maybe this next week. Leading us to this next week, we have our predictions. All right, let's do some predictions real fast. Trying not to take too much of y'all's time, plus I gotta get to class. First up on the board is Creech Casual Cartwheel versus Brandy. I'm projecting that it's predicted Holly's gonna win. Holly, I know you predicted the comeback, or you predict the comeback. I think Brandy's gonna take this one. I told you I wouldn't go against her unless she's working against me. Then I ain't gonna vote against her. But I think she's gonna take it. I think you're both gonna be above the median, but I think Brandy's gonna take it. All right, and Boom Roasted versus Latest Night Canada. Matt's taking that, no problems. If you guys are curious too, by the way, I've been counting all my predictions. I have, I think it's an 80% or like an 84% correct prediction rate. So there's some mathematical, I guess calculations with this. But who's to say? My brain's fried this week. Maybe I'm off this week. We'll see. But I think that Bo Nick's gonna show out again this week versus the Jets. I think Matt's gonna just go nuts. He hasn't predicted a lot, but I really don't care, man. I see his team. I've been watching the people he's putting in, the bodies he's putting in where, and I think he's gonna be all right. With Jason having people like Hassan Haskins and for running back, that running back core is up for grabs. You don't know if he's gonna perform. You usually wait, but we'll see. Next is Rachel Suckett versus Trey. I think Rachel is gonna pull out another one. I think that she's been doing well. I think that she's been been diligent in who she's picking up and making moves, and she's starting to put up more and more points. I think she's gonna pull out the win. I'm gonna predict that she's above the margin. I am gonna predict that Trey, again, you are below the margin yet again, dropping you to 1-11. We'll see. Want to root for you, brother? Can't do it this week. All right, this week we have Laverne's Pies and Mackenzie. See, at this point, I am equally annoyed with both of these two. There's no other, I guess, mode for Mackenzie other than jealousy. I think that she's been just killing it, bro. Every single week I say it. Like, I think her lowest score out of all 6 weeks now is like 159 points. That's a dub for almost every single week for me. That's insane. Like, how can somebody keep up that sort of firepower for that many weeks? I don't know, but she's been doing it so far. I'm gonna predict. She's gonna win again. It's gonna happen again. I want Leah to win, just to prove that Mackenzie can lose, because I'm curious to see if she actually even can. I don't think the script supports it, but I want Leah to win. That might be the first time and only time I say this year, but I think Mackenzie's gonna take it. I think they're both gonna be above the median. Both solid players, both solid teams, but I think that Mackenzie's gonna pull that one out. And another big matchup, honestly, a very even matchup too. I see Lauren and myself. With this matchup, she's been on kind of a cold streak lately. I think this is quite a toss-up. I think this will be our game of the week like it was last week between myself and Mackenzie. It's too early to kind of call this one, to me personally, for my team. So I'm gonna go with a safe bet and say Lauren's probably gonna pull this win out, just because I have some IRs on my list. I have some people like Lamar Jackson that you don't know what he's gonna do. You don't know what he's gonna pull out. I don't think that he's even gonna come back this week. So if I have to play Matthew Stafford again, it would be great last week. I don't see myself actually pulling this win out based off the hopes and dreams, you know. So I think she's gonna pull this one out. But that about wraps up all of our predictions. Again, let me make this clear. You don't have to win to get on the State of the League. All right. If you want to be on the State of the League, I'll approach you too, to see if I want you on. I wanted Leon this week, but she never reached out after that. I think she was a little kind of bent out about losing to the lowest scoring player in the league. She may have been excited. She wasn't as disappointed as me. I promise you that. So next time you got to suck it up. You got to hit me up. You got to get in here. You got to, plead your case on the State of the League. But love you guys. Hope you guys have a great week. Wish me luck. Give me some prayers for my class that I'm going through. And I'll see you next week.